That time when we did what? When you go through the park, you find more wild animals than when you go through on the main road. I think when we went to the park, I saw more wild. I nearly saw out of the big five. I think I only missed the lion. But
Ekiro was all giraffe. During the
yeah, during day, the big elephant was crossing the road. So I imagine how they coexist with everyday people. Because I saw the kids running around. They, there was a population of people. Honestly, it wasn't. It wasn't anything different. Ngamba kati, for someone who was grown up here, how is seeing the big five valuable?
You don't want to be a local tourist. A local tourist paying in dollars. Because the equivalent in Ugandan shillings, you'll just shake your head. You would rather pay $2,000 than pay 7.6 million.
That was my whole point. I'm like, the guys here, how do you even try and sell to them? The elephant is there. I am seeing.
so
So what?
Yeah.
look at the guys in Kenya, the source. It's where they just go like a normal day for them. So the guys who are, you see buses leaving Kampala to go to Kenya, like, and then you find guys in Kenya like, you end up collecting one.
Yeah, the guys are just even showering by the shore. But we're just laying the platform for another episode of the weekly Wowos. We are back, and this time we're going to talk a lot more basketball and rugby as well, from what happened over the weekend. Interesting, some very good predictions, especially from Franklin Kawowo. I think he's been on the money for this for what he said last week. He will give us a deeper insight into what transpired over the weekend, especially from the basketball.
Yep.
But I'm your weekly host, Dennis Musali, and I'm here with our rugby resident expert, Joseph Manmuhomuza. Joseph, welcome.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much, Dennis, and also thank you, Franklin. It's always a pleasure to sit down with you distinguished gentlemen, and we discuss sports. I'm always envious of the people who watch us at home, because I think I learn a lot more from here. And now, if at all they're also out there at home, also like listening and watching, I believe they're even learning a lot more than I am, because I'm right here in it.
All right, welcome, Joseph. He'll be giving us what went down at the Kabale Sevens in Kabale, and also the editor of Kawowo Sports, Mr. Franklin Kawowo.
Yep.
Kawowo got, from his predictions last week, 2 out of 2. He predicted that the Kampala Summit will not be swept. They will pick a game, so the series is 2-1.
2-1.
And of course, the other guys will get the broom.
And
You see your
indeed.
cannons.
And indeed.
In their series against the Namuongo Blazers.
Well,
Experience or
not really.
that is the truth of the matter?
It is the truth of the matter. I mean, looking at the scale of all the 4 teams, it was almost easy to say, easy to predict that, especially from the UCU side, that it's going to be extremely hard to pick a win against the Blazers, and that is because know that UCU are not going to be very competitive. They are young boys, completely competitive in all sorts of ways, but the experience within that non-Blazer side was always going to come to the fore. When shove comes to, is it what they say?
When push comes to shove.
Push comes to shove. They always have the stability to get that just over the line, do enough to get over the line. And also obviously on the Stoller side, I said that within Summit there are 3 players who can step up on it and kind of get the result. And indeed that is what happened in that opening game that very Friday. I mean when last week when you said that, I mean on Tuesday when we said that they are definitely going to pick a win, and that's the win they picked, and it has not been the same since picking that win.
Hold your thought there, Franklin, because you were here to start the show. I would want you to give us more details about that. Maybe also speak about during the week, Blazers being declared the team that will represent Uganda this year's ball competition.
Yeah.
But maybe just to start off, to start off the whole show, I'll get my start out of the way. And for me, the news over the weekend, Yasin Nasser and Ali Katumba winning the Africa Rally Championship.
Yeah.
And I was reading what our resident rally expert, Sharifa Namangova International, I think I've also said the names. The other one is
there is the other one that is missing.
26 years after the late Charles Muhanji did it, Yasin Nasser and Ali Katumba clinching that Africa Rally Championship. And for me, one of the things that really, for rally, unlike other sports, I think sometimes I feel other sports were a bit privileged.
Yeah.
You have the support of either government or sponsors,
Yeah.
but for rally, it's a very, very personal thing.
Yeah.
You have to, for you to win an African Rally Championship, I was just trying to imagine how much Yasin Nasser has invested in that journey for him to get that far.
Yeah.
And I think that is a big, big feat for Uganda, for himself, of course, and for Uganda as well.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping, I'm on a certain forum where people are saying that if the guys who just reached the quarterfinals went to State House, why shouldn't an African champion also go to State House? And I hope that he can get some sort of recognition from government, I must say.
Yeah, for sure. That is no easy feat in a sport that requires massive investment from your own pockets. You would say Yasin and Katumba a little bit, I don't want to say lucky, but they have Moyo as their sponsors, and they take off a few burdens off their shoulders. Of course, when you have a partner like that, you're always going to have some weight off your shoulders. But also,
I think the biggest expense in motor racing is first the machine itself.
And that is, people might say that is a one-off expenditure, but also, I mean, you cannot come out of the rally when the car is clean.
Yes, true.
Definitely. So almost every other stage, you want to almost hit the garage and then see things here and there where they're still functioning and all that. And obviously that has been one of the hindrances for him over the past few years when he has attempted at the African title. That finally came. But for in terms of expenditure, obviously this year has been a little bit different. In the past, of course, rallies have been going to Zambia, going to Ivory Coast, and I think it was a little bit lighter this year. That pretty much the African title has been raced around the region, you know, and obviously that brings down the cost a little bit, but also what a feeling it is. One, you're Ugandan, but you're also racing in Tanzania, which is like almost your playground, because I mean, you have competed in the Tanzania National Championship before, so you're pretty much going through the same kind of phases. And for me, the most interesting bit was he did not win, but he needed to make sure Samamvora, who was leading, doesn't win, and now that is luck.
Yeah, I keep telling you, Franklin, that being lucky is better than being good.
Yeah, that was poor luck. And you know, when you finish fourth on the opening day, you were saying, and the man who is supposed to win is leading. As a competitor, you're first looking back like, am I in, am I not? And it took the final stage for everything to change into now that is luck.
Yeah, I mean,
luck. And of course, everybody, I think, around motorsport in the country is super happy for the team.
Yeah, I think they have to be, honestly. There hasn't been so many things to celebrate in motor racing. And when you get something like this, you hope that it's what would, encourage all the other guys. There have been a lot of guys who have made that attempt, but I mean, the late Charles Mohanji was the last one to do what? To win it. So for me, that is my starter for this week. And congratulations to the rally crew there of Ali Katumba and Yasin Nasser. From all of us, I think we gave a big celebration from Kawowo Sports because motorsport is very, very close to our hearts, especially our resident expert, Sharifa. So big up to Yasin Nas and Hope. I don't know whether, because motorsport, like we've mentioned, is so personal. I don't know if he will continue racing, or you look at it and then he's like, now and then what?
I've reached the top.
Yes.
I think you see, the thing with I think individual sports is that there's always a new high. Like, because right now, we honestly, there is not a lot of money that you're getting from it. For me, the thrill is for the guys get their thrill from racing, and definitely you want to expect that he's now going to go for another season, not one stamp with those that have been a 2-time or 3-time African champion, and all that. Of course, if you have won in Uganda, you have won in Tanzania. It was the African title that was remaining, and I think that would be his target, like to be multiple African champion.
Yeah.
And probably have a go at the actual big thing, which is the safari.
The Safari Rally in Kenya. All right, interesting. I hope hopefully the goals change for him now in terms of trying to be a multiple African champion. But Joseph, your starter for this week?
My starter for this week comes obviously from the sport of rugby. Very predictable there. But my starter is the women's category as a whole. And the reason why it is my starter is because that this year the women have been really, really good. First of all, I'm talking about the national sevens. When they promoted the Walukuba Titans, I think they came to Chadondo and shocked everyone by how good and how prepared they were to play at this stage. They were promoted, and then they were replacing the Kitgum Queens, who were really not, should I say, not prepared for this stage, because they really suffered really, really bad scores in last year's national sevens. Yes, but the Titans came in from Walukuba. They have been playing very well. Right now they are third on the log, behind Giants, Thunderbirds, and a legendary Avengers side. And then you find that there is a Black Pearls in there. Then you find right now after Kabale, then there is the Nile Rapids in fifth. And then you find the She-Wolves in sixth. Now, when you see all those teams, all of them are very competitive. All of them are very good. And that, for me, gives me a certain thought that maybe 6 slots are not enough, because every circuit has 8 teams, 6 core and 2 invitational. So I'm thinking maybe 6 slots are not enough. Maybe the ladies can be given more slots. And if at all the extra slots that they are to be given come from the men's side, then so be it, because 12 teams are really too many, and they create that extra, those extra fixtures that are quite useless. Now, why would they be playing a 13th playoff? For what? In a 12 league, in a 12 what? 12 yes.
Tournament.
Why would you be playing a 13th game? If it's for placement, go down and look at their points. And if at all you as a core side, you find yourself out of the 12, and there is an invitational team that has taken your slot, then you clearly don't belong there.
You see, Joseph talks about increasing the sports, but he forgets the first issue why those sports are not enough. But if the existing teams are already having challenges that the union hasn't addressed, why would you then bring in extra teams?
And you see, Franklin, that's why I talked about, if possible, take away some slots from the men.
Exactly.
If possible. Why are you subsidizing 12 teams when only 8 are competitive, and then you have another mediocre 4 teams that are here for survival?
I think down the line, hopefully, that URO will find the perfect balance for both the girls and the men.
Yeah, and also in the last about 1.5 years, 2 years, Franklin can bear me witness that the union was sort of shifting their focus to the ladies' games, because, as you know, our union, they focus where they see quick returns, and the ladies had been doing very well in the Challenger Series.
Comparative advantage, competitive advantage.
Exactly. So I think it wouldn't be such a head-scratching decision for them to make.
All right. Franklin, you start up for this week?
Well, you hinted at it a little bit. I mean, for the first time in a decade, you're going to have a different team representing the country at the African level. Obviously, number one Blazers, who, as it was, of course, announced, reached during the course of the week that they will be playing at the Road to Bal for me,
It's not at Bal, it is a road to Bal.
the road, but the qualifiers 4.
Yeah.
It has levels. They wanna talk. They may not even get to it. Of course, they are starting the road to Bal.
At the road to Bal, do you get some Kamani as
No,
well?
no. Here it is you
Kamani
investment.
starts
Kamani starts from the league. Here it is you investing. You're playing a qualifier. Do you get T20 World Cup money when you're in the qualifiers? Kamani comes.
No,
to say this. So
the teams get a okay, we don't get, but we get a subsidy in terms of travel, accommodation.
no, not really at that level. Actually, at the level where they are at, it's purely FIBA handling it, and with FIBA, there is no money that comes with it. But they are going to start off obviously with the zonal qualifiers, the first phase of the road to Bal, which is usually divided into the FIBA zones.
They communicate where it will be. I remember City Oil was in Egypt sometime, I think last year or something.
No, not yet. This one is usually for zone 5, so it is either going to be in Tanzania or even here in Ugogo. I haven't seen still no communication on where the first that road to Bal is going to be, but I think the past 2 years it has been in Tanzania, and so again, because Toeras, the last time they were in the Bal, they did not get into the Bal itself, so a Ugandan team has to start from the bottom up, and so that was for me. The way at which that decision was arrived at was the most interesting. I mean, in Uganda there is nothing that comes straight. I think you have to pretty much fight for everything, but we shall discuss it in detail a little bit.
No. We can start with it. For those of us who are outside looking in,
yes.
For me, I was happy because there was compromise.
Yeah.
There was compromise, and I had it somewhere else where people said City Oilers felt there was too much bad blood. They didn't have sort of the public support for them to go and present Uganda, so they sat out the conversation. And then, of course, what was left on the table, the other teams were like, hey, guys, probably the regular season winner should go on and represent us. Yeah. So for me, I felt it was a win for sport. People left their egos outside the room. Yeah. And then, I mean, sense prevailed. At the end of the day, people would have, it could have been different, but here we are talking about, I mean, eventually everyone was able to compromise. And you feel that the most sensible decision was arrived at.
Yeah, it was the most sensible decision, but of course it was a forced decision, to be honest.
Whose hand was forced?
The federation hand was forced to...
What was the idea that who was forced to say we are not interested?
Exactly, it's because, it is because of that. Ideally, in 2023, when the federation was making a change of when the local season should start such that it can accommodate that year's winner to be the one competing in the Basketball Africa League. The start of the season moved from April to around February, January. Now, it so happens that last year there were delays with the lower division because of a sit-down strike from the referees. So at the Division 2, Division 1 and Division 2, there was a delay and their players moved into this year, which by extension delayed the start of the National Basketball League because the promoted sides were not yet determined. Yeah. Now, that delay pretty much caused a delay in the season of the National Basketball League and by extension determined the winner who should represent the country at Bal. Now, initially, the federation decides that we are going to send last year's champions, Toeras, who obviously were in Bal last year because they were in the elite scene in Nairobi, where, of course, they were beaten to that Bal spot by Nairobi City Thunder. But the bottom line is, so now players get to learn that the federation is preferring to send...
That decision is what actually had Blazers pulling out of the league last year.
Yes, in 2023.
In 2023,
yes.
They felt that,
what are we playing for and all that?
It has been taken away.
Yeah. And so Blazers, that the federation is deciding to send Toeras to the competition again. Of course, that raises some sort of hailstorm in a way, but boiling under. So they, yeah. so Blazers write to the federation, get into seeking clarification that is this true? What is happening? Who is the country sending to BAL? They don't get a response. That is according to their CEO. They don't get a response from the federation, and now they take it a notch higher. They write to FIBA and the Basketball Africa League inquiring about the representation of Uganda and saying the federation is sending steroids, but this is what is happening in the country. The league has not been completed. We were the regular season winners. So if you are going by sporting merit, we should be the ones representing the country at the Basketball Africa League. That letter is sent, I think, on Tuesday night, or should I say Wednesday morning. In the night, actually. In the morning, FIBA calls the teams in the semi-final, because that is now some bit of pressure, you know. So they call a meeting.
The pressure is top to bottom.
Top to bottom now, a little bit. So FIBA executive calls for a meeting between the clubs that are in the same finals. Obviously, that's Namwongo, UCU, Summit itself. That's owned by the FIBA president and Sto Oilers. They have a meeting at the National Council of Sports, a heated meeting from what I've been told. And that is when Haji...
You'd want to be a fly on the wall in that.
Yeah, so that's when, I mean, of course a few words fly around, expression of dissatisfaction from the non-Blazer side. Of course, everybody raised their issues, but at some point, Haji says, as to others, I don't think we are interested in this anymore. Obviously, UCU not. Some Rukaida say they are not. Of course, Summit is NASA. I say they are not, and it leaves just one option of non-Blazers. But that, obviously, that was a forced hand. Like, it is either us or us, kind of. And a statement is released by the federation that morning, and one of the things that can tell you that some of the things were forced is the mistakes in the statement that was issued, and you know when stuff is done rushed like that, obviously this was not something that they're probably willing to do and do that. But from a neutral perspective, maybe I mean, sporting wise, you wanted them to go probably, but one thing that needs to be addressed, obviously, of course, in that letter as well that was issued, they say the next season is going to start a little bit earlier on time and all that, and by non-Blazers going, it means that whoever wins this year's league has no representative next season. This is not unvoid regardless of who wins. Mm-hmm. The bar spot has been taken, and so it is pretty much trying to normalize for next season onwards.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, that now the only vindication for that decision probably is non-Blazers winning the league.
And they better win it, because if they don't, if they don't, it is going to be, I don't want to call it banter, but it is going to be, I think, embarrassing. Obviously, you're going to get banter from stakeholders, fans, and everybody else. That kind of stuff. And obviously, we want them to go to a road to BAL, and then they are competing and that kind of stuff. Otherwise, when you ask for stuff like that, you have to be ready for the consequences that come with it. Of course, because you're carrying the weight of the country now.
Yeah.
And just again, if they don't win the league, just turn on your notifications.
No, they must win the league, because if at all about 2 seasons ago they were fronting the same reason for pulling out of the league. Yeah. So why are they still playing the final if at all what they are playing for they have already achieved?
Yeah.
No, not exactly. Obviously,
I was also thinking about it like that.
If they have achieved what they were playing,
because the playoffs, playoffs, they are quite interesting. But I mean, where is my heart? For Blazers, they'll be looking at making sure maybe their guys don't even get injured. Yeah. What? So
no, what? As I said earlier, this was not something that was handed to them willingly. They forced the issue. Okay, it's not that it's not that they had reached the point of where they are supposed to go because they are no champions yet, but they were opposed to the sending of last year's champion for this year's tournament. And by forcing the issue like that, it means you're looking at yourself as one who can win the title, and you should, and then two, you're strong enough, whether financially or otherwise, to represent the country at that level. And for me, that is where the discussion should be. Uchisabye tukuwadde kati tulage. Yes. And for me, that was the biggest. I think the biggest news out of basketball this week.
I think for this to be a good, maybe you would say their hand was forced. Like I said, for those of us who are outside looking in, we need to. Namongo Blazers need to go with the blessing of everyone. Let people swallow whatever is in their throats, and then not be there with I hope they lose, and then it comes down to you should have waited for probably the season to end. So
from what I'm hearing on the ground, of course it is there. I hope they lose. Of course, from their side, it's like mugende babakube. Mulabe nti byocha muwaddemu was it is just a matter of getting it and then you're over the line. Of course, there are people who are hoping. I hope they lose. Yeah. And there are people who are saying like, I hope they do well. They do well and vindicate themselves of that.
I'm a big advocate of good always prevailing over bad. So I hope that the Blazers do well. But we'll have that Blazers conversation.
New fan here.
We'll have the Blazers
and he's in red.
Even in red. We'll have that Blazers conversation sometime when they get close to the BAL qualifier events. But let's deep dive into the rugby that happened in Kabale. The Kabale Sevens, the second last circuit of the Sevens season this year. Predictions as well from Joseph, not very far off. He had predicted the Nile Rapids to win for the women, but they came up short to the Thunderbirds of Chambogo. Chadondo. They nearly got over the line, but it has been the usual story. I think the seventh season for the men has mostly been about the Buffaloes and the Walukwa Barbarians. Those two very little to separate them at the top of the table, and with the Buffaloes hosting the last circuit. I think they've set it up very, very nicely, and you hope that probably it will still come down to the two of them on who will be the overall winner. But let's start with the overall picture of the Kabale Sevens. Paint a picture for us, Joseph, on what went down in the hills of Kabale.
Yes, Dennis, when you were starting the show, you hinted on the predictions we did last week, and you said Franklin was 2 for 2, and I almost defended myself there, and I said that the teams that I nominated actually lost the finals, but then that almost doesn't matter, as they say. But well, the Kabale Sevens are being the second last tournament. Clearly, time is running out. And for the Gulu City Falcons, time has run out. They have been relegated. And now the other spot remains between the Elgon Wolves and the Eagles to see who goes down. But at the top...
Company Eagles.
Yes, the Company Eagles. But at the top, where it matters the most, we have had now for a while now, we have had a consistent top 4. But number 3 and 4 are just proving that they're here to escort 1 and 2, because they've gotten into these positions very many times and they haven't won. They each have a circuit. Yep. And But for the top two, that is the Walukuba Barbarians and the Buffaloes they have been very consistent. The Buffaloes has only fallen out of the top four, I think, once at the Rujumba Sevens, whereas the Walukuba Barbarians have maintained, that top four position.
Winning a circuit, have they?
They won the Gulu circuit, and now they've also won. People have been calling them the upcountry Buffaloes. Yes, but yeah, they have won those two. Of course, upcountry circuits that they have won. But then you find the Walukuba that has also won two, also winning their home circuit, winning the Chadondo circuit. Maybe that will play into the Buffaloes, the Buffaloes Sevens when they go there, because they've already won at Chadondo and beating the Heathens that while at it twice, on day one and on day two. So as we get into the Buffalo Sevens, I think it's important to reflect on some of the things that happened in Kabale. For example, the Nile Rapids that I so much wanted to win because they found themselves at the bottom of the table due to circumstances maybe beyond their own control. And then they got to the final and sort of dig themselves out of the bottom. And then you find the Walukuba Barbarians, maybe it makes more sporting sense now that the Buffaloes have won, because now the Buffaloes sort of reduce that lead by 9 points instead of the 12, which would have gone to 15, and then they make it almost a done and dusted case when we go to the Buffalo Sevens. But now when we go to the Buffalo Sevens, of course Walukuba is on top, the Buffaloes are second. The Buffaloes would have to win it, and Walukuba would have to finish fifth or worse. But if they finish fifth, then they win. If they finish fourth, then they are level on points, and then we get back to who has a better difference. If they have the same, then I don't know what the manual provides for. Probably, our union is very generous with their guidelines. They can always decide. They can always decide something off the cuff right there and then. And then for the women's side, you find the Avengers that are in second place, obviously, but they were so poor in Kabale, they couldn't even make the semi-finals, and that means that now the Thunderbirds have, on paper, already won this year's series, because they have a strong about 16-point gap. And when you get to the women's side, those are only 8 teams, and when you see the points allocation, that would mean that Thunderbirds would have to finish 8th, and somehow Avengers win it, which is greatly impossible. Yeah. So the Thunderbirds just have to show up. All they have to do is show up and play, and they have won.
And they will be there, of course.
Yeah,
of course, they are home. They are at home, and they will be there. So for the women's,
this weekend,
yes, this very weekend, this coming weekend. Yeah. So for the women,
2-2, and then you rest, and then
no. This year it has been a little bit compact. I think they were running out of time. Then there is Safari Sevens coming up. Then there is Kings of Africa Rugby coming up. And some of these players are university students, so would have to represent their universities in that tournament. So it makes it a little bit complicated. But yeah, for the women, done and dusted. For the men, there is still a slight chance in there for Buffaloes to do something incredible. But personally, I wouldn't mind who comes out on top at the Buffalo Sevens and ultimately the National Sevens, because at least would be getting a breath of fresh air. The last time...
You guys don't like people who win.
Yes, the last time Buffaloes won was 2014. Then until 2022 when we got a different winner. And of course, 2025, definitely we are getting a winner who hasn't won in a while. So me, I'm happy for that. I'm also happy for the downfall of Franklin's Cobs. Let them suffer. Let them suffer. You just don't sweep all your players at once and sort of rebuild from the ground up. You'll pay. So let them suffer.
Yeah,
Cobs will be all right. Cobs will be all right. Of course, when you reshuffle your squad, you're always going to get results like this. Of course, the focus, I think they had a lot of focus on the 15s, and I think that disappointment made management and some players, I think, a little bit think their decisions. And when you pick that kind of squad to come, you're always going to have those growing pains, and they will experience them, I think, throughout. And with that, you don't kind of see if they are going to to do real off-season moves. I think they might just be getting these boys to get into the playing and get some playing time in their legs at the highest level, and then you might just see the same boys into the 15s.
Yes, I've seen some incredible players in there. Obviously, there is a healthy mix of the Nagoro boys and, the sort of other boys in that squad. So it is a very promising squad, because that's how you build teams. You put all the best players from everywhere together and hope they gel and, they sort of give you the results. But the Cobs in Kabale, you could really tell that they were missing the services of Andrew Diambo, who is injured. Andrew Diambo was the difference for them in Chabazinga Sevens, and that's how Cobs somehow found themselves in that in that semi-final. So they found themselves in that semi-final by.
Not sure how they got there.
Not sure how they got there, but they were there and they played, and that's how they got there. Unfortunately, getting into that semi-final meant that they would top the group, and then when they topped the group, and they ended up meeting Buffaloes and then Rhinos, who didn't make it out of day one. And when they reached Kabale, they were really punished for doing so well, for overachieving the Chabazinga Sevens.
I think they ran out of legs from Jinja. And those are long journeys to make Jinja, and then you have to go drive all the way to southwestern Uganda, I think. But as we look ahead to the Buffalo Sevens, by the way, if you didn't know, and I'm sure you've read it on Kawowo Sports anyway, Buffalo's winning that final by barest of margins. I think 28-26 were the scores.
No, that was the game against the Pirates. That was the semi-final.
Yeah.
But this one ended 14-12.
14-12, yeah.
Yes,
14-12.
for the larger part. Of course, the Buffaloes came out and they scored first. And all the Walukuba boys were like, calm down, we got this. And then the Walukuba boys go on and score. They do not convert. They scored through a gift Wokorach try. They score, they do not convert. Then they score a very beautiful try, typical of Walukuba. I can't remember whether it was Shakim who kicked the ball forward, but then there is that young boy from Ginger SS, Shafiq Mansour. Boy was running like lightning, so fast.
Man has quick feet on him.
He was so fast. Chased that ball down, and I think Odiambo was the one chasing him. Odiambo of the Buffaloes, not the one of the Cobs. Odiambo was chasing him, and he just gave up. Then Mansour went and goes on and scores in the middle. Now the score comes to 12-7. And then I don't know what happened to the Walukuba Barbarians, but a team. You can't say it was complacency, because they were still playing rugby. But then there were very many handling errors in there. I don't think I've seen Shakim Sembosi drop a ball, but if at all a player like Shakim is dropping a ball, if at all you find an experienced player, experienced by Walukuba terms, because he's about 26, 27 now, Ruben Kagwesaje, if at all you find Ruben doing very basic mistakes, getting a yellow card, then you ask yourself, do you really want to win this final, or are you just happy to be here and you've now ticked off another box of we're in a final? We have accumulated more points, and therefore we just have to be consistent enough, of which it wouldn't have to win, an extra trophy. But however, kudos to the Buffaloes. I think when I saw them after that quarterfinal, I thought they were beaten, they were tired. Then they come in and they beat the Heathens in the semi-final. It was, I think, after beating the Heathens, then they got that belief back, because I think Heathens has their number, and using that number, yes, they always bully them. Thank you for stopping me in my tracks. I was going to use a very anti-V-like analogy. That analogy people use when a coach keeps on playing a certain player, but that player is trash, and people keep on asking, does that player have the other coach's funny pictures? So I was also going to ask whether Heathens has Buffalo's pictures, because they always seem to beat them at every turn. Whenever they meet, they beat them. Yeah. And when they beat them this year in the 15s, you could tell the celebrations that were there at Chadondo that day, because we were playing in, Impis was playing in Mukono. Then we come to Chadondo, and you couldn't believe the celebration that was there after that 21-20 win over the the Heathens. Yes, but I think after that semi-final, beating the Heathens, they got that belief back, and went into that final and sort of never gave up until the last minute, until that moment when they were in the right places and they sort of carry the ball to the Walukuba Barbarians. They are now in their 5. They are piling on pressure. There was a point where I thought they had dropped the ball. Maybe the referee didn't see that, but they kept on piling that pressure, and lo and behold, it paid off through that Douglas Mosoke try. That is a try you typically see in 15s, because usually 7s, the player who is on the base comes and picks up and passes. Douglas picked up as if he was doing a pick and drive, then he goes and scores, and they were in a very favorable position, because after that they put in the conversion. Now it is 14-12, and by that time I think we were a minute or two into that. I don't want to call it extra time, but the hoot had already gone. Play was still going on, because when the hooter goes, it indicates time is up. Yeah. But play was still going on, so they played within that time.
Final play.
Yeah. Yes, final play. And when they made that conversion, of course, it was full time, and it was mad scenes in Kabale. So congratulations, Buffaloes. You guys have earned this, and we can't wait to see you host us this coming weekend at Chadondo.
Yeah, Franklin, do you think Walukuba can hold on, finish the job in Chadondo?
Very, 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 very positive. I think the Barbarians, outside of a few glimpses here and there, I think they have been the most consistent side in the series, and they have been able to do almost in a very such do what is enough to keep you there. And for me, regardless of the group, the quarterfinal opponent, I believe they will be in the same final as the bare minimum, and they should leave Chadondo as the champions of the National 7 Series. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah, for everything they've been through this season as well. You want sort of, being crowned season 7's winners be a sort of a reward for everything they've been through and how consistent they've been as well. And
look, and by the way, at this point, you cannot say they have overachieved. I think right from last season, what Coach Lee at least has been telling those of us who have had opportunities to chat with him and all that is that he has been saying, give me next season, I'll be able to win a 7th title. I'll be able to win a 7th title. I'll be able to win next season. Of course, he's one of the best strength and conditioning coaches around. And again, the 7th game is about conditioning. And when you prepare players like that and the kind of psyche that he puts into these boys, you know for sure. I'm sure he has the game plan that he will just make these boys do enough to get over the line. And again, just as everybody was happy with an up-country side Hippos winning some 2 years back, again, we're again excited to have at least power going somewhere else.
Yeah, that's what Joseph has hit on, that you sort of don't want the usual guys to be the ones winning. It's sort of a different feeling when, let's say, Mongas or Hippos or Walukuba Barbarians are doing well.
Yeah, sure, it can't be Pirates, winning all the time. Other teams can also win.
You want to go to pit stop in Chigambo, which
but on the other hand, we have two teams. One hasn't won in about 11 years now, since 2014, and then you have the Barbarians that weren't even a team in 2014. They began playing in 2016, and if you see the Barbarians winning it or the Buffaloes winning it, I think at the end of the day rugby has won. And immediately after that, I really hope, because we shall be going into the Safari Sevens, people have been watching these games from the Coronation Sevens, and now we all wait and see which players are you calling for that national team. because there are players who had already written their name in stone on that national team, and then they haven't showed up these sevens for whatever reason, and which isn't bad performance, but they are just not available or played 1 or 2 circuits here and there. So I would really like to see a team that is selected on merit from some of these teams.
The boys who have put their hands up, be given opportunity.
Yes, the boys who have the boys who have really played very well this circuit, and I'm glad it comes immediately after our national sevens, which end this month, then Safari sevens in the second week of October. So we shall all be looking out for that team. I think the ladies have registered more success at the Safari sevens than the men. So we wait and see what the men can do in the Safari sevens of this year.
And look, we stuff like this. It doesn't make sense for any coach to choose a player who has not been playing. You don't know what kind of form he is in, the kind of game awareness they have, regardless of the amount of time he has played the sevens game and all that. I think when you're talking about players being game ready, it is the boys who have been fighting week in, week out to get the results for their respective teams.
Yeah, I don't know how much URU rates the sevens circuit. Because sometimes some coaches will be like, I'll stick with Joseph, who I know they've been in the system. So you feel like, okay, yeah, you played in the league, but it's not.
You take him there and then they're going to blow by him.
Yeah, but ultimately, on sporting merit, you hope that the kids who've put in. The thing should be that we should see a lot of guys from Buffaloes and Waluko Barbarians making the team. Of course, the other guys from the other teams will be there. But at least the lion's share should be from those two teams.
Who have been the most consistent throughout all the tournaments. And he talked about the strength and conditioning that the Walukuba have due to their coach, Leonard Lubambula. If at all you look at that Walukuba team, and for example, they have lined up Walukuba here, Buffaloes there, then you see Douglas Musoke this side, and the biggest man on the Walukuba side is Edward Emiemu. And anyone who knows that rugby is a physical sport, Bakweto Mira, you would obviously write off Walukuba immediately. But the conditioning that those boys have, they can run for the whole day, and when they get into those contact zones, they can actually dominate their collisions. You see those boys actually dropping people.
That same Busi handoff.
Wow. It really sent Odiambo to heaven. Walukuba player that I'm so in love with, Gift Wokorach. He has been amazing, and no wonder he even won the Kabale Sevens MVP.
Other Wokorach people we know?
Actually, that's an interesting question. When they were playing under 20, the under 20 Battles Cup,
in Kenya.
Yes. So Uganda is being clobbered, I think, by Madagascar, and that was a must-win game. So what Coach Marshall and Coach Katonto decided to do, they take off Stuart Mwai and Calvin Gizamba, who are they are Cobs players, for avoidance of doubt. And then they bring on Matthew Musasizi, who is an Impis player, and Gift Wokorach, and they changed the game. So when we were streaming via YouTube, someone in the comments asked, does he have any relation to the famous Wokorachs of Uganda? Oh, that's just a name for bowlers in Uganda. Yes, but that is a player who has showed that he's very confident. No relation. Yes, very confident. Even when you go to his ex-profile right now, he's living his life. He's just like very normal. You know, there are those players who
success and the showbiz.
And when they lose, they are so down. No, not Gift. Gift is like he has a very cool head on his, on his shoulders, and I think he can actually go very far if he doesn't go to Pirates.
Talking about champions, like he's talking about some other side.
Joseph today has been violent.
At least let him go to Hiddens by that.
I think next week after the circuit, next week we'll have to profile some of the best players out of that 7th season. Pick out some of the names you should look out for. Remember, that name is what we normally say in cricket. For people who've done well in a particular season. But the Sevens will be happening this week. The final circuit, the Buffalo Sevens, will be at Chadondo.
Budget to judge it will be up very soon.
You'll be the budget will be available for you to for enjoyment for those 2 days.
The after party is going to be serious, of course.
At
It's the grand
Chadi.
finale.
But
Kabale
it's
Tukeyongera.
very, very tight at the top between Barbarians and Buffaloes, only separated by 9 points, right?
Yes, by 9.
9 points. So, but if, as long as the Barbarians finish among the top 4 teams, it won't matter what whether Buffaloes go on and win it. It won't matter. So it's very, very easy. So for the Buffaloes, they'll be hoping that the Barbarians finish outside of the top 4, and they can go and win their own series for them to be crowned champions. I feel like it's coming. Both of them have won 2 circuits. I'm feeling like it's coming down to who's going to win 3-2. To be crowned champion.
But then when the Hippos won, they had only won 1 circuit.
Wow.
But they were just very consistent, like that.
Interesting. Just keep reading Kawowo Sports. You get all the updates when the 7th season concludes this weekend at Chadondo. We'll just switch up the conversations quickly and go straight to the basketball. The semi-final playoffs are happening. Namuwongo Blazers are taking on, I think that's a done deal as of now, but as of last week, the series was only actually started the day we did the show. Namuwongo Blazers bringing out the broom and dealing with the university students of UCU. But in that same day, Kampala Summit surprising everyone, apart from Franklin Kaweru, and winning game 1, but unfortunately game 2 and 3 have gone City Oilers' way, so the series for them is 2-1. If City Oilers win the next one, I think it's a wrap. Yeah, it's a wrap tomorrow. But the series, that series is still alive. Of course, the other one has already been taken care of. Best of 5, so 3-0. There's usually no point in playing the other 2. So Blazers already in the finals. Uganda's representatives at the BAL qualifiers this year already in the final. They'll be waiting on Kampala Summit and City Oilers. But again, Franklin making a prediction that City Oilers could be the team to progress. From Game 3, the scoreline in Game 3 suggesting that probably Kampala Summit are running out of out of ideas. Game 2 was closed, but Game 3 looks...
by the way, if they hear you calling it Kampala Summit again, people will not be very happy. It's just Summit basketball.
Summit basketball.
So I want first get the dance series out of the way. One of the things that I talked about here last week is that the boys of UCU are competitive, and they are definitely going to compete. And I capped that with also the coach, Coach Nick Natoyoza, what he can do, what he can squeeze.
Wasn't on the bench though.
He was there on the first game, and then he went with the 3x3 team in the World Cup. So the last 2 games have been handled by John Egau, who is probably the next in line, at least from that side looking in. But one of the things that I noted most from those series is I think when Blazers decide to play small basketball, they become a little bit very difficult to beat with how Jimmy Nabu, Joel Banza, sometimes Innocent Nchera or Ivan Muhwezi, plus Tony Dureba, the way they move around at the perimeter and how they craft their offense creates a lot of problems for many teams. And if anything, that is going to be, or that should be their strength in how they craft their offense around their guards. Obviously, that's not saying that the work that James Okello does or did, especially against Joel Kaida, who is the primary offensive player. I mean, everything on UC offense goes through Joel Kaida. And look, the amount of work that James Okello put in trying to limit how much damage Joel Kaida can do, whether on and off the ball, I think that also gives Blazers some sort of option. Obviously, one of their big players did not play the 2 games. Anton Chukura, the Nigerian big man, he did not play the 2 games. But again, when he comes back in the finals, I think at this point you say Blazers have the ability to play small where you have, in fact, they tried it a little bit yesterday during game 3 where they had Arthur Wanyoto, Moses Mugisha as the forwards, Tony Druideba, and then Joel Barnes and Jimmy Nabu. A team of completely small players who can move around so fast and make your defense kind of move around in trying to create a little bit of open space in drive and kick and that kind of stuff. I think the ability and the little bit of opulence that they have in trying to change their game, you can play small, they can go big through Mike Makiadi, Antoine Chukura, James Okedo. I think they have a little bit of ability and flexibility in change of how they can play and all that. But moving on to the most important series, what I talked about Summit for sure is that they had the quality of players that can get a game. The question was, can they...
That game 2 I watched, really, they just looked like they ran out of time.
Exactly.
They needed 1 more minute to make everyone happy.
Can they can they consistently do it? That was the question. And in that game, too, to talk about
they completely didn't put in anything.
Yes, that fourth quarter. You see, the challenge with I think most of the teams or coaches is that they quickly forget what is working. And in that series, in that game is. Summit were employing a 3-2 zone, zone defense. 3 players at the top and then 2 down. Now, in the 3 players that they had at the top, they had a tall player, usually Cheng, being on the ball. Because the Oilers ball is handled by Chad Bowie and Fayed Bale, and these are their best shooters. It means they cannot take off a shot because they have a tall person in front of them. Yeah. So it forces them to pass the ball to poor shooters, if I may put it that way, or to players who are not going to make that a much significant contribution. And so in doing that, I think Summit had a lot of control in that game. I think they led it by as many as 12 points, I think, towards the end of the third quarter. And the moment they deviated from that in the fourth quarter, Oilers came back, and you don't want to give a team with that much experience an opportunity.
Yeah.
And that kind of opened up the leeway for Oilers again to prosper. Same stuff that they did in game 3 yesterday. They ran the zone. It is effective. They go into the fourth quarter leading by 5 points. They go away from it, and then it blows in their faces to a point that they only managed to score 4 points in the fourth quarter, and you're not going to win a game of basketball by scoring 4 points in 10 minutes.
Yeah, very true. And one of the things that amazes me about basketball, even in the game we watched for City Oilers, for the Blazers against UCU, Blazers took a big lead in the first quarter. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, that lead was blown away, I think, by halftime, and was down to about 4 points only. But Summit just really looked like they had it in them to be able to beat City Oilers, but the experience of City Oilers just helping them do the right things at the right time and then get over the line.
And you see, no lead is so big in basketball. It is a matter of...
That's one thing that amazes me about basketball. Like a team doesn't go out even if you're leading by 30 points.
You can lead that, but the moment they hit 2 3-pointers, it is enough to disorganize. With our kind of amateur setup, 1 2 3-pointers can already disorganize this one, because if anything, I always credit Coach Nick Nakreza for his discipline in how he sets up his defense, that it doesn't matter how you concede. Like, let us concede that way, but you're not going to concede inside. They can shoot the 3. But what I saw from Summit is that the moment 2 3s went in, they ran out of the zone and tried to man up. And now you're not matching up with a team that has skilled players on the ball, and that caused a lot of trouble, and they could not defend anymore. Now it causes panic on their side on trying to find a quick basket, and you don't. Well, some people are hoping, or we're hoping that maybe they can hold on that, but the moment you get in an experienced side, you give them a small path to go through, They're going to crush it.
You have to give it to City Oilers. I just felt like if that arena had about, give or take, if there were 100 people in it, of course there were more than that. I just felt like
It's
like
usually
90 were against them and only
Yes.
10 were for them.
Yeah.
And the 10 were the guys seated on that line.
Yeah, it's I mean,
It's a bit hostile on them.
1,500. Of course, everybody. I think when you start around for so long, people with them just get tired of you. I think they just want to see something new. It's not that they don't like necessarily like Oilers. They just want to see, I think, a new champion. That is it. It's not that
Nothing
they
personal.
don't like the team.
Yeah.
It's just that they just want to see a new champion. So you're always going to see people rooting for the underdog. In this case, it doesn't matter where they're from or not. They're always going to root for the underdog because
But kudos to, I'll give it to Fuba as well. I think that arena is not big enough anymore to accommodate all basketball fans.
No, it is not,
there was-
especially in those high-profile
Yeah.
games.
As the season gets to the business end.
Yeah.
Kudos to them for making it relevant for people to come out.
Yeah.
It's not that it is cheap. I mean, you have to part with about $3.50 for you to watch the game.
Yeah.
So the arena
And,
is no longer big enough to
And
accommodate.
that is for
There
the
were a lot of
low-end
people
fans.
standing. Eh?
For the low-end fans like yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I thought tomorrow they are going for tarmac dance.
Yes.
Summit can sort of level it on the tarmac.
I don't, can they even fit at that tarmac place? The tarmac is even now smaller than the arena.
Yeah, but people don't like to go out at YMCA these days. Of course, YMCA used to be a worship house back then in, I mean, when Power and Warriors were dominating at the time. But, I mean, Oilers themselves don't like to play there. And it is going to be interesting to see how Chad Bowie and Caricat are going to respond with playing at that outdoor court, which is no longer actually a court. I don't. YMCA is it's like a Kampala. It's like a Kampala road.
Yeah,
not like Kampala.
even with how the players were physical, Franklin, in that game. So guys falling down, and you're feeling a bit sorry for them. And
very physical game. And if they play that kind of physical game at YMCA, it might be difficult for
I think
Oilers.
Ivan Muhez went off injured
Yeah, Ivan, yes, went off
in the Blazers game.
And so was I think Ruabaga Ivan as well. He injured his ankle and is now on crutches. I mean, at this point of the season, teams are always physical, and obviously even referees let a few things slide here and there. So I mean, when you look at that the next two games, if all have to be played, are going to be played at YMCA. I think that is going to be another battle that the Oilers are going to fight with, especially with their two.
A change in surface, do you think gives Summit opportunity to come back in the series? On the spot, no missing words.
No, I don't. They have had the opportunity, of course, throughout the series in Gogo, but I don't think the tide is going to change for me. Apart from the two guys, Chad and Kat, the rest of the Oilers guys have played at YMCA season in, season out. It's not going to be something new to them. The only difference is that, okay, the Blazers fellows have played there almost all seasons since when they came in. Of course, Tembo has played there the past 2-3 seasons. Nyembo played there during the regular season. It is not going to be easy for either side. Of course, I mean, the hoops alone at YMCA are imbalanced. It has so many bad things about it, that court. You cannot make a right call on it. Will depend on who is going to respond. If say, I mean, it rains during the day, you know it is going to be a little bit slippery, it's going to be chilly, it's going to be, YMCA, but it will depend on who have their heads on, locked in, I think. But I don't, general picture, I don't see Summit coming back and winning this series in any way. I think Oilers, it's now Oilers series to lose.
Yeah, City Oilers and Namongo Blazers is the final that is predicted by Franklin, but he's the expert, so we won't disagree with him. I've just seen an update here from, of course, Kawowo Sports. The Uganda, now we're actually switching the conversations, don't worry. The Cricket Cranes are taking on Namibia in one of their warm-up games. Namibia scoring 205 for 6 in 20 overs. That is a team we are most likely to play in the semi-finals. Big mountain. But just to speak about it, and I've written two pieces that preview the tournament. Of course, starting with what Uganda can be able to do, and then of course looking at the opponents in our particular group, and they're up already on Kawowo Sports. Okay, let me start with Franklin.
Okay. One.
Can you let me put it on the spot. The warm-up games are just warm-up. Yeah? Do you think Uganda can go to the second World Cup?
The answer is no.
Is that based on reading my stories? Or?
Not based on reading your stories. I mean, as a Ugandan, I would love us to go to the World Cup.
Yeah.
As, I mean, a sports journalist, I don't think any of the teams is going to take us lightly. I think...
We have the target on our backs now.
Exactly. I think there was a time, I think when we went to the qualifiers last time out, I mean, just like the fans were saying, how can a pregnant man beat you like that? I think not even Zimbabwe fans did not know what the hell they were facing. They just went into an ambush. But right now, I don't think whether Namibia or Zimbabwe are going to take us lightly. Again, many things have to fall in our favor for us to qualify, and probably that will be based on the first game that we are going to play on Friday. If by the grace of God we beat Zimbabwe, then we'll probably have 1 foot in the World Cup again. But given how Zimbabwe is will be treating us, it's not going to be any jokes anymore. I mean, whichever way. And look, there has been a change of course, a little bit of addition in the batting prowess. Of course, for Ugandans, none of us has seen yet what Vama and what's his name?
Gaurav Toma.
Yeah, Gaurav Toma. I have not seen enough of them to say this is the kind of stuff that can put out consensus. I don't think they showed, or they have shown. I mean, in the three warm-up games that they played in South Africa, I don't think they showed that kind of abilities yet. If they have it, that is because usually when you have pro batters like that, you brought in somebody for a specific role. Players like that don't need warm-up to kind of. You know, kind of show their abilities. I always make a reference to when we were having one of the players here in basketball, Janyon Otto, when she was playing for the first time. She was playing a warm-up game in Ilgogo. It was business. I think she scored 28 or something, like easy. Like we always talk about last season what Parish Petty did for Sto Oilers. Akulagira Wonti, I'm on another level, and I don't think we have seen that from the two guys yet. Obviously, I'm not at this point. I'm not sure how much a T20 application that Shildeep and Dawan have. Of course, they're a bit comfortable with long form games. T20 is not about setting yourself up. You have to go out there and then. So at this point, the team that we have, there is no, I mean, talking about it, we certain that this is what the batters are going to give us, for sure. And that is what creates a lot of doubt in my mind.
Franklin, I see you're missing your words, but now let me take this back to Dennis. Dennis, what do you think Uganda's odds?
And I think I've written about it in the stories. I think the math is very simple for Uganda. We have to win our group, as simple as that. If Uganda wins the group, they'll go back to the World Cup. As simple as that. If we don't win the group, it is going to be very difficult for us. Then we'll have to it's going to be a lot of hoping that, you know, things go away on a particular day. But we are in a group that has the host Zimbabwe, like Franklin has said, Botswana and Malawi. Not Malawi. And
TZ, I think.
And Tanzania. And you feel that we're still a level above Tanzania and Botswana, the two. We should be able to beat them easily. Yeah. The problem is the other guy, who was Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, we beat them in 2023. They were not very happy with us, very angry because there was a lot of... I think the whirlwind swept through their yes, there was association. A lot of heads started rolling in Zimbabwe cricket because of losing to Uganda. And ultimately, that win is what gave the boys the belief to go all the way and then, you know, just finish the job against Nigeria, Rwanda, and who else? I think Nigeria and Rwanda. And Kenya. Kenya gave us a bit of a headache, but eventually we beat them. And if you look at the other group has Namibia, it has Kenya, it has Malawi, and Nigeria. And in that group, Namibia should be comfortable finishing number 1. But all the other teams can be beaten by whoever finishes number 2. Yes, whoever finishes top this side. So if you top this group, whoever finishes number 2 will be the easiest of semi-finals. Will be the easiest route for you to ever go to the World Cup. Yeah. So Uganda just has one job only, is to beat to top the group. However, we are playing Zimbabwe in our first game on Friday afternoon, and I'm sure it is going to be packed. Of course, I'll be there for Kawowo Sports to bring you an update, but I'm thinking it is going to be very, very packed, and they will come with revenge on their minds to try and make sure. Zimbabwe in Africa, there are two member nations, South Africa and Zimbabwe. Now, Zimbabwe feels a bit humiliated for them to go through a qualification round with the others who are not members. So they've been saying back home, there's been a quote that has been making rounds that Zimbabwe wants to put everyone in their place. Of course, that includes our own Uganda. So I think it's going to be difficult, but if Uganda can be able to show up on that day, that's the beauty about T20 cricket, like sevens rugby. I show up on the day and you came half-half, I will take you down. So if Uganda can show up on the day and sort of things go away, take a good catch here, a good ball gets rid of someone, you could easily be able to win the game. But it's not going to be as easy as it was in 2023. I felt the round robin format was, I don't know, a bit favorable. A bit favorable. This time when you put in two groups, makes it difficult for you to predict where things would go. If we were in the same groups, let's say with Namibia, then you feel that we can be able to rest on Namibia and then still finish top of the group. So it's going to be a difficult job for Uganda. But if you want to go to the World Cup, you have to beat the best. There are no two ways about it. So difficult thing, but I'm patriotic enough to think that maybe you just never know. This could be our luck. As long as luck is on our side, we should be able to get the job done. You see, Dennis, the modern T20 game is, to be fairly on a safe side. You say if you're setting, you need 170, 180, and then you're looking through our batting lineup. What are the source of the runs that can win you a T20 game? Obviously, in the middle, you can say Dinesh will come and hit on his day, Alpesh. Of course, Juma at the back can also hit. But 1 through 4, can those guys get us to 120? I think that's why they brought in Toma and Sumit, just to try and beef up the batting. In the past, Uganda has relied a lot on those all-rounders, Alpesh, Riazat, and Dinesh to score runs. And I'm thinking this time they are trying to make sure that the batters actually contribute. Shredeep, Raghav, Obuya, Toma now, and Sumit. So, the job is, the work is on them to do so. If they can't, then so be it. But from the this just doesn't want to limit, but what he's telling us technically is that because batting is a difficult skill, but I hope they can be able to get the job done. They have the experience, I have faith in Robinson Obuya. Ragav showed what he can do in the Pearl of Africa series. Yeah, so you just hope that they don't get at that stage. Zimbabwe is a bit, when we were there for the last qualifier in 2022, it's a proper cricketing country. It's not, when we were as the girls in Namibia, the tournament can happen in passing.
Nobody is aware.
Like, there's actually no one. Yeah. But the sort of show that Zimbabwe puts on is a proper cricketing show. You can feel intimidated.
And everybody is in
Takashi. You walk out to bat and people are shouting and things like that. So sometimes you can be overwhelmed by the occasion, but you hope that the new guys can be able to just take with this within their stride and then and carry us over the line.
I'm such a moody. He has used faith, hope. You're finishing all the adjectives. Faith, hope.
The man is going to carry his Bible to the stadium.
I'll tell you, hope is a very bad strategy.
Yeah, but I mean, as we conclude, in terms of bowling, of course, we've seen the growth of, Juma and Kosi. Over the past few years, of course, with the experience, of course, that they had at the World Cup. Especially Juma had a bit of few of the captains and all that. In terms of, wicket taking for Uganda, those must be our openers, I want to believe. Do you see enough wickets to kind of shake the top a bit?
No, our bowling is nothing to worry about. It is potent enough to do well. Maybe today they've conceded 200 runs. I'm not sure exactly what happened. But I think our bowling is potent enough. Henry Senyondo, Frank Nsubuga, Old Man About Town, the young Benjamin Baguma was bowling well in South Africa. Yeah. And of course, Cosmas.
I he's given a chance.
Cosmas and Miyagi have developed into good. Sometimes they're not very tight at the top, but they are better at the back end. So, which is also very important. So I think our bowling is potent enough. We just need the runs. You're not going to win games in Zimbabwe bowling well. You're going to win games because you're out batting teams. So simple as that.
T20.
Exactly. Anything less than 170 is going to be very easy for the other team to take down.
Yeah.
So, but like I've mentioned, we'll be in Harare next week. This week, starting Friday. So make sure you're on Kawowo Sports. You get all the updates from Harare, where the cricket cranes are trying to qualify for a second consecutive T20 World Cup in Group B alongside Zimbabwe. And the Uganda starts with a difficult game. Zimbabwe, I think they did it intentionally. Yeah. Make sure we beat this way, and then we deal with other things. But Uganda starts off with Zimbabwe, and then they will take on Tanzania and finish their group games against Botswana before they move on to the semi-final. The top two teams in each group qualify for the semi-finals, but only the two teams that meet in the final will earn the 2 slots to the World Cup. So
we'll beat Namibia. Beat Namibia.
in the semi-final. Technically, in the semi-final. The man says he has predicted. Franklin is rarely wrong with his predictions, so the cricket cranes will want to hold on to that hope as well. But
we wish Coach Kauto good luck.
But that has been another interesting episode of the Weekly Wowos. I've had the pleasure of hosting Joseph Man Muhomuza, our resident rugby expert, and the editor of Kawowo Sports, Franklin Kawero. I've been Dennis Musali, and as always, keep reading Kawowo Sports.
And big up to our producer.
Our producer today, Raymond K.
Video done.
Thank you very much, sir.